Skiles, and nice little get together before Thanksgiving. And
Good
sir,
morning. Good morning,
have you had
Stan.
any success out in the deer fields?
I've had tremendous success. I've not killed a single deer, but I've had tremendous success. I've seen several, and I haven't been able to hunt very much. But when I have hunted, I've seen several, and very much enjoyed it. And I enjoy the hunting much more than the killing and the cleaning and so forth and so on. But the eating one is good too. But that's okay. We're not hurt for that, and I enjoy the hunting. I made a pact several years ago. Every one of these days, I'd get one of them big guys that was worth spending quite a bit of money on to hang him on the wall, So I made a deal that every buck I kill has got to be better than the last one I got. So the last one I got was a pretty nice deer. I almost spent those big dollars to get the shoulder mount and the whole thing done, but I didn't. I'm a cheapskate, and so I spent about. I done a little modified head mount and cost about half that. So, but now I'm up to where I've really got to kill a pretty good old bruiser to get that. And but that's okay. I enjoy hunting. I enjoy watching them and just being out there. And that's what it's all about. It's the hunt. So anyway, before we start though, I've got to give a shout out to a couple of really cool guys. I mean, they're a couple of the coolest guys I know. And I'm sorry, Mike and Dave, it isn't you two guys. You guys are pretty cool too, and I know you're listening, Mike and Dave. But Mike and Dave are in different places too, by the way. But anyway, I know they're listening this morning probably. But anyway, the two of the coolest guys I know that I want to give a shout out to, their names are Landon and Lincoln, and those are my grandsons. They're 5 years old and 4 years old, and they're spending some time with Pawpaw and Meemaw this last night and today and this weekend. And so they're at the house. So they were trying to figure out why I was leaving, and I told them I'd be on the radio and I was going to say hello. So I'm giving a big shout out and hello to my grandsons, Landon Lopez and Lincoln Lopez. So hello guys, and enjoy the radio program. Meemaw assured me she'd have the radio on for the boys to hear. So Landon and Lincoln, this one's for you guys.
All right,
So,
very good.
yeah, so
Hope you guys enjoy hearing Grandpa talk a little
there we go. Yeah, yeah.
Grandpa talks a lot, but in your job, you have to talk a lot. There's a lot of things to be said.
You know what? One of these days, Landon or Lincoln might be sitting right here doing
That's
the same
true.
thing, Stan.
That's true.
Yep.
Maybe not with me here, but it might be somebody else.
That's right. Who
Anyway,
knows?
but
You know what? You know what though? That's why we do what we do. We do it for those that are coming after us, to hand off something here for our county and our community, and leave our county, leave our communities in better shape than we found them, and or at least try to maintain. And anyway, so I hope someday, that my grandkids can look around and see and appreciate a little bit the efforts that I've put out, and the other office holders and people like you, Stan. So anyway, that's what it's all about. I did want to say a big hello to Landon and Lincoln.
Well,
Okay.
Very, very, very
Cool
good.
morning this morning, wasn't it?
Oh, it was cold.
Man,
outright cold.
I was
man.
glad I was doing the radio program and wasn't sitting over at my stand, actually.
I knew it was getting cold last night. I had, we were off the air most of the day yesterday, putting up our FM translator antenna on our tower, and I was out in that field all day yesterday. And I want to give a shout out to Kirby Blauvelt and his guys for being on top of that tower.
Oh,
With
my
the wind
gosh.
chill up there was
Jeez.
like about 14 degrees, and they're handling metal. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 200 feet in the air with that wind blowing like that.
Wow,
And
wow.
You got a hook holding you on. I'm sorry. That's not what I call a glamorous job. But these guys were up there, and then we ran into a snag. So, Darrell, they not only had to climb that once, not twice, but 3 times to take that antenna
Not me.
down. Put it up, take it down, put it up, take it down, put it up. So, big shout out to those guys. We finally got our
And how tall is that ladder? That
200
tower?
feet.
It's climbing up 200 feet.
Yeah.
I get a little queasy about a 12-foot ladder stand for deer hunting. That's why I hunt out of a ground blind.
Anyway, I want to give a shout out to them and Bob Moore and Sean Baker,
Yeah.
the engineers here.
Yeah.
We're out there all day in that cold weather, and I'll tell you what, these guys didn't complain at all. I mean, they did a little bit as far as being cold, but they tried to get in out of the wind. The wind was the factor yesterday, and it kind of that way today. Because it's cold out there, don't get me wrong. It was 19 this morning, and the wind chill, though, was 11.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's
Eh,
good morning.
Cool morning. Cool
Yeah.
morning in Dake County.
No doubt about it. But
Anyway, a lot of things
so
going to warm
anyway,
up nice, a
the
lot of
good
stuff
news
going
is-
on.
The good news is, Darrell, that sometime probably February, we will have this program not only on the AM side, but on the FM side.
Really?
As well.
So what do you know yet? What's your
95.7 will be our
95.7 on the FM
frequency.
side.
Yes, sir.
So will they be broadcasting like we're doing this program? Will it be broadcast both on the AM and the FM side?
Exactly the same thing.
Cool. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Like it.
So that will hopefully, we're waiting on computer chips that are sitting out in the Pacific Ocean. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're waiting on. So, but we did get our test passed yesterday.
Well, you may have to make a trip to California and take a canoe with you and just paddle out there and get the doggone thing.
The thing is, though, which ship is it on?
Well, yeah. Yeah,
that's the problem. And then after I do that, then I got to take those chips and drive them to Maine to get the transmitter built.
What a deal!
No, I know it's crazy.
It'll come together, though, right?
It will all come together, but it's been a long time coming. We've 3.5 years of doing this and fighting and COVID, and it's been rough. But we got it done. We had that until December 8th to finish it, and we got the test done yesterday. So
good deal. Well, glad to hear it.
It will be legal, so everything is good.
That is great.
Yeah, very good. All right, but that's not why we're here to talk about the tower and to talk about grandkids and stuff. Kind of all in a nutshell, really are. But on the topics at hand, county business going on as usual. You know, it is usually a limited staff because of deer season. A lot of guys wait for this time of year to take some time off.
That's right. A lot of the road and bridge guys have been deer hunting. And luckily the weather's cooperated as far as there's no major weather events going on. If there was a major weather event, the guys would come in and get with it. But a lot of the guys are out deer hunting. But so otherwise, been kind of some maintenance grading, servicing equipment, and hauling rock and stuff, and so forth and so on. So everything. So otherwise, it is kind of a in between time here, especially with Thanksgiving coming up and so on. So hopefully the weather will continue to cooperate.
Right. So first thing is I want to talk about is that I know, and you've got some other stuff to talk about. We got our sales tax money in from October.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that was withheld without notice, without any kind of warning.
Yeah. The sales tax saga with Department of Revenue continues. Yeah.
That's like an ongoing battle, isn't it?
It is. Well, and the Department of Revenue, again, they withheld sales tax again in October. They weren't supposed to, so they went ahead and put it back, added it back to our November sales tax. So, which the frustrating part is, though, it's hard to, they didn't even give you an explanation what your November sales tax would have been and what the crediting back of the October was and how that. Nope, just a big lump deal, and it's just ridiculous on how that happens. But at any rate, the bottom line, though, still year to date, we're down about 27 to 30%, depending on which fund you're looking at, from 2020 for sales tax because of the Department of Revenue error where they're making these corrections for the error they made here some years ago. So, and then we're still sitting now. It's about $942,000 balance still owed that we'll be working out details with them later sometime. We have a hearing, administrative hearing, commission hearing in January to talk about the nuts and bolts of this thing and how it worked, and to look a little deeper then also at some of the accounting as to how these things get put together. But at some point they've agreed then they'll work out a stretched out repayment of this so that it doesn't hurt quite as bad. You know, if we can stretch it out over 100 or 200 years, that'd make me happier. But we probably won't get quite that friendly a terms.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be quite that.
Yeah. Well, we'll compromise then.
Considering they just took it without telling you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's the part that burns. Yeah. So, and that it is nothing we could have done. It wasn't our fault, but they admit that. But that's just where we're at on that. Yeah. So anyway,
but it does kind of scare you when your government can just stop your money.
Oh man,
without notice. They didn't even say a word.
No heads up.
I'm sorry, you don't get any this month.
Yeah, we made a mistake, and
you're paying for it.
Yeah, and so therefore, your money didn't. So, yeah, just imagine, if you got paid once a month, and employer. You went to get your check, and the employer said, "Oh, we found out we made some mistakes several years ago, and so we've added it all up. So you're not going to get a check for the next 3 or 4 months." That wouldn't fly very good.
It wouldn't make people very happy.
Yeah.
It's not. I know it's not making the. And my big thing is Darrell, that it's just trying to figure out. You're going to have to figure out a budget even before you have this hearing. They're trying to figure out what you're going to do next year.
In January.
And it's going to be. I just see this as a hair pulling out exercise, because you can't really plan to buy anything new because you don't know how much is going to be taken out.
We don't know what the repayment thing is going to end up being.
Exactly.
So anyway, luckily though, as we said before, luckily we had a good reserve to fall back on, that we were able to absorb that $1 million they withheld at the first of the year, and luckily we've got some reserves that will allow us to absorb this, having to absorb it every month for a few years and take this. So, but yeah, it does complicate the whole budgeting process here. They keep wanting us to tell them what kind of a payback schedule we have in mind, but we keep asking, what is the total bill? Well, they don't know yet. They're not done. Well, who signs on for a real estate note or something for a piece of property without knowing what the purchase price is?
Going to cost?
But here's how many months you agree to pay it back in. It's insane. So anyway,
it reminds me of an old RAB commercial. How much is it going to cost you? Well, we're still adding it up.
Yeah.
The monkey with the banana suit, and
And you know what's frustrating to me, and I mentioned this to one of our legislators. I said, we can deal with various disasters. We've dealt with major flood deals that just destroyed the roads and things, got in to fix them and pay for it and get our FEMA reimbursement if we could get it. We've had the terrestrial hurricane that tore part of the roof off the judicial building, ripped a hole in the roof of the courthouse, brought the big communication tower down through the windows of the courthouse into the first floor. All that, you know what? We got in. We can fix the hole in the roof, and we got the roof fixed. Got a new roof put on the judicial building. All these disasters that hit, we can deal with these. But I'm going to tell you, these man-made, man-caused disasters are really, really frustrating. They're very difficult. And I mean, those other disasters were tough, but hey, you know what? The old saying, crap happens, and we'll deal with that.
Right.
But boy, when it's a man-made disaster and they don't even have the courtesy to give you a heads up, it's pretty frustrating.
And not only that, though, you can get an estimate and know what that's going to cost. This one, every time you turn around, they're adding another 2 more, 3 more years, 4 more years, 5 more years. We're going to do this.
Well, at least evidently that's 10 years is the maximum there.
Don't bet on it.
Yeah, but yeah. Hopefully. Anyway, that's it.
Let's move forward. Okay.
Anyway.
Very good.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving this one up to you since I've been gone a little bit. So
yeah. Well, I want to hit on something here because it's going to be coming out. It's going to be coming out in the news a little bit and stuff. As most of you know, I've served as president of the County Commission Association of Missouri for the last year, and that's for all the commissioners across the state. We have new officers elected every year. I was proud to serve as president of the County Commission Association, and one of the things the County Commission Association does, of course, is work with the legislators on legislation that affects counties. Both positively or negatively, and we get very involved in that because our job is basically, just like we're always talking about, budget and trying to oversee the best interest of the county. We got a real surprise laid on us this last legislative session. Senate Bill 53. You've heard me talk about it a little bit before. Senate Bill 53 and Senate Bill 60. Those are two bills that started off in the legislature, mainly started off, first of all, though, to address the problem of residency of police officers in Kansas City. For some reason, the legislature has authority over where police officers can reside and serve on the police force in Kansas City, maybe St. Louis too, I don't know, but whatever, we didn't have a dog in that fight, didn't care, and so those bills started off that way, and then the Senate Bill 60 started that way, and then the Senate Bill 53 got into some other areas of police reform. The anti-law enforcement people wanted some legislation dealing with chokeholds. They're all shook up, worried about chokeholds. And because of stuff that's going on in other cities across the nation, and so then it took a turn where they had to add the wanted legislation with chokeholds and things. That's fine. Again, we didn't really have it. We figured the Sheriff's Association or the police chiefs would monitor that, and kind of surprised that they didn't get a little bit more involved in that. But at any rate, the bill moved along, and finally then Senate Bill 60 got added to Senate Bill 53, and it got a multitude of various things having to do with what they call police reform, so forth. Okay, that's fine. Moves along. We're not worrying about that. But we did have, early on in the session over on the Senate side, and our own senator had sponsored a bill that was going to remove, as it stands right now, the sheriffs of our counties, their salaries are determined by the local county salary commission, as all my salaries, the commissioners, the county clerk, treasurer, everybody else, except for prosecutor. Anyway, but they're in the salary commission. Several years ago, there was concerns, that the sheriffs weren't being compensated as much as they should for the work they do, and nobody really disagreed with that. Senator Mike Cunningham, 3 years ago in 2018, sponsored legislation and got it passed that would raise sheriff salaries up to $6,000 a year through the local salary commission. Basically, the salary commission could recommend this salary increase, and if the county commission approved it, then it was added. Many sheriffs across the state then got those $6,000 per year raises. Ours did too, and that's fine. Nobody begrudges one bit what sheriffs get paid. There's probably more frustration that we're not able to pay the deputies and others in law enforcement more than we do. But there's only so much money in the pot, and we have to try to divide it out. So at any rate, there was a legislation 3 years ago raising sheriff salaries. At the beginning of the year in January, I asked Senator Brown. He'd sponsored a bill that was going to move the sheriff's salaries completely off the sheriff's salary or off the county salary commission, and attach the sheriff's salary to state judges, which by statute are tied to federal judges, which then by statute leaves it up to Congress to hand out raises every year. So this bill would, in essence, turn sheriff salaries over to Congress for annual raises. And I was assured at that time, back in January this year, that was nothing to worry about. It was just kind of a favor that was being done, and that it would never make it out of committee. It wasn't going to go anywhere, and it was nothing to worry about. So we didn't. Lo and behold, Senate Bill 53 moves through the Senate, and it passes, like I say, with all this other stuff having to do with banning chokeholds, and having to do with the residency of police officers in Kansas City, and having to do with making it even tougher if a law enforcement officer is engaged in misconduct with prisoners and things, which is already illegal and serious. But they added more language to that. Okay, fine. It comes over from the Senate, and lo and behold, on May the 5th, over on the House side, boom, they added an amendment to move sheriff salaries over and tie them to state judges, which, as again, are tied by statute to federal judges, which then turns salaries over, annual raises of control over to Congress. Now, Stan, Congress doles out money all the time that they don't have. I mean, let's face it, they're doling out billions and billions and billions, we've heard it, and trillions.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't have it. We have to deal with money that we have. We only have a finite amount of money. We can't just deal with fantasy money. But our concern here in this bill, what happened was they done it at the last minute. In the normal course of doing legislation, and I know if Ron was here, he'd say, yes, a bill gets introduced and there's hearings. Had this bill been introduced over on the House side as well, and it been vetted all through the session, we could have gotten this taken care of. If they wanted to raise sheriff salaries, and the commissioners are all for sheriffs getting an increase in salaries, we're not at all opposed to their getting their salaries increased, but it needs to stay in the local salary commission and maintain that local control. Mm-hmm. When these legislators are all running for office, they'll tell you, though, they're against unfunded mandates, and they're all for local control. Oh, you betcha. Yes, sir, we're for local control. They went up to Jeff City in January, and May the 5th, they voted to turn sheriff salaries over to Congress. In essence, in a nutshell, that's what it done.
Kind of in an overnight session, too.
Yes, sir. It happened fast.
In front of the public.
No hearings, no nothing. Slam, bam, done. And they done it. Totally took a left turn from the rest of what that bill was about. And it's filled with, and it's very poorly written, done very hastily. But we found out it was planned to hang on to this until the last minute so it could be done without any chance for anybody to say, whoa, hold it a minute. Well, then it became a little more clear how come maybe there wasn't more opposition to other stuff. I talked to the governor's office about whether he would sign it, and they said, well, there's a lot in that bill that law enforcement doesn't like at all. So they felt they had to give law enforcement something. So, well, you didn't really give all of law enforcement anything. You just gave one person. And what it did was, by doing this, it raises sheriff salaries across the state, most of them from $20,000 to $40,000 per year. And again, we're not against them getting a raise, but it needs to be through the salary commission. We do not need Congress in charge of handing out annual raises, and they'll do that.
It could be more than that, too, if Congress goes higher.
If Congress hands out big raises, as they do periodically, they review what the federal judges are making up. Here's no, we're thousands and thousands, and they do that. Then that filters right back through the state judges, which the state picks up their salary. If the state wants to pick up the salary, if they want to double sheriff's salaries, we're fine with that. That'd be great if the state will pick up the tab. But we got to pay for it out of the money, the real money.
The money
That's
that
our
the
tax
Department of
money.
Revenue is not even paying you now.
There you go. That the state is screwed up and stuff. So we looked at it, and we had one of the largest law firms in Jefferson City, Hush Blackwell, and one of their associates, Lowell Pearson, look at the bill and about how it was done, not about whether the sheriffs should get a raise. That's and what they did. They set it. The bill. What they did was they set it up where the sheriff's salary would be a percentage of associate judges, state judges. Mm-hmm. And that percentage would vary dependent upon your assessed valuation. So it'll vary from 45% to 80%. If you're a bigger first-class county with a huge assessed valuation, your salaries went up. Some of them went up $30,000, $40,000, $45,000, $47,000 a year. It's kind of funny. One of the commissioners, when this very first passed, one of the commissioners from a large first-class county said to me, and I said, "Wow, boy, this is." Man, I don't know. This is going to be a tough pill to swallow with them turning this over to Congress, and because even when Congress does that, you don't know that till the middle of the year. We got to try to build a budget in January. We won't know till the middle of the year what their next round of salary increases they've handed down the pipe. But anyway, in this first class county commissioner made a comment, kind of granted he hadn't really seen all the bill yet, and for here in Dick County, it raises the sheriff's salary from 50-some thousand to a little over 70,000 a year. I'm not begrudging that one bit for the job they have to do. But I can tell you the deputies need more pay too, and the money's just not there. And for many of these counties, for the money to come out that's going to take to pay some of these $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, they're saying they may have to cut staff in order to be able to pay it. There's only so much money in the pot. You just can't. But at any rate, one of these commissioners said, well, you third-class counties weren't paying your sheriffs enough anyway. He thought they were okay. He thought they were already above where it had to get. Well, a few days later, he found out that theirs went up $47,000 a year to, I think it was $116,000 or something. And oh my gosh, he was screaming, wait a second. And I said, well, but that's okay. But the worst part, though, is where they turned this over, fastened their salaries, essentially to federal judges, with all raises being meted out every year by Congress.
Right.
And that's just, if they do this, I mean, really and truly, anybody listening here, who wants Congress in charge of the salaries for your local elected officials? And I don't think very many people would raise their hand and say we're for that. If we're going to do raises, then let's do it let's adjust the salary commission schedules like they did 3 years ago, and allow for those increases. Change those base salaries in the salary commission schedule. It's 50.333. Anybody can look it up, read it. It sits in there, and you can do that, and then keep it locally. But this is untenable. So we authorized the law firm Hush Blackwell, the attorney Lowell Pearson, to look at this thing and their staff and about how it was done. And they came back and said, it really violates the intent and will of the Constitution, obviously, and by doing this the way they did, taking a turn, totally deviating from what the rest of the bill's aims and purpose was, circumventing any opportunity for hearing public view. So on October 20th, the County Commission Association Board of Directors voted overwhelmingly. I think there was one dissenting vote because I don't think they cared for the PR, what it would look like, and I get that. But at any rate, voted overwhelmingly to authorize the attorney to draw up a lawsuit and file it. And so as president of the association, that was forwarded to me yesterday. I signed it, had it notarized, sent back, and yesterday afternoon the attorney, from what I understand, was able to get that filed in the Circuit Court of Cole County. So that'll be moving forward to see, and it's just for those provisions having to do with what the amendments that were added dealing with the sheriff's salary amendments. As I said, we've had numerous legislators, senators and representatives since it passed that voted for it, said, we hate this thing. We should not have these salaries attached to, by extension, federal office holders and having Congress involvement in this at all.
Take it out of local control hands.
Said we really would like an opportunity to go back and revisit this thing and straighten this out. Hopefully with the lawsuit we filed, and it's just about that specific part. Now I think somebody said there was something they seen came out in the paper last night already that we're trying to kill the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. No, that's ridiculous. The rest of it, while I question a lot of the stuff, that's all right. That's between the legislators and the law enforcement folks that'll have to deal with that. But this deals with local citizens' tax dollars, what we can do, and how we go about building a budget. It's even contradictory what they put in there. Some of the language is even contradictory to existing statute and the Constitution itself. Constitution itself maintains that you can't take a raise during your term of office. The bill in here specified that they were to get the raise, like some thought it was supposed to be in August when the bill took effect. Now the governor signed it. It took effect August 28th, I think it was. Did it take effect August 28th? Does it take effect July or January 1 of 22, or does it take effect with the next term of office in January 24? You get 10 lawyers and you'll get five think it's one way and five another, or three and one of a difference opinions, because they say that it creates conflict no matter which way you interpret it. So those things need to be ironed out. And then again, and when we talked about it, all the commissioners agree they're not at all. As a matter of fact, there's sheriffs across the state as well that are pretty unhappy about the bill and feel like their own association misled the legislators about what they'd like to see done and so on. So they're up in arms about it. And I've got the names of some of those that are very unhappy about it. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. People will be hearing it. It's not about, we would love for them to go back, revisit this thing, adjust those salary schedules in the salary commission statute, and do this, but get Congress mitts off of our local business.
But if the attorneys find that the bill was illegally introduced and passed, it would negate the bill.
Not the bill. It's just the amendments there at the end is what they're.
Right. Well, so
what
any of
the
those
argument
parts
is.
that got added on, that was all done in kind of a hush way.
Yes, sir.
Then that would, but it still may negate the entire bill. I don't know if it would, but
they've looked at it closely and says that it doesn't. That the severability that is not an issue.
Because you never know what a judge is going to say when it goes to court.
In the suit is just asking the court to look at those specific parts of it as being whether they were done constitutionally. And if not, then put a hold on enforcement of that and let the legislature go back and revisit that.
So it's a targeted lawsuit and
not at the whole bill.
Okay.
But that portion,
right.
those
Very
portions,
good.
right. So if you hear about it, there's the skinny on that. So anyway. All right, so.
But that's not what a St. Louis Post-Dispatch is going to say. You're just mean people.
Well, if the Post-Dispatch was on my side, I'd be worried. If they're ticked off about something they've done, well, I'm pretty comfortable with that. Yeah. I don't worry much about the Post-Dispatch opinion on much of anything.
I don't either.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yep.
Never know.
Well.
All right, very good. Well, we appreciate that update and let people know what the real story is before it gets out there.
Right. Well, it's very complicated. I mean, I know this for a fact. I know there's several sheriffs already have talked about, well, they'd like to forego the raises that it gave and leave the money there that would have been there for raises and leave money in their budgets so they could increase deputy salaries. And that's great. But by law, they can't refuse a salary. Excuse me. By law, an office holder can't refuse their salary. What they do with it after they get it's up to them. But you can't. And if you think about it, you can. When you think about it, first you think, well, why couldn't an office holder refuse their salary and just say, keep it? I don't want any salary. I'm just going to do this because it's the good thing to do. But if you think about it, that would end up becoming campaign fodder and deals. Well, I'm going to run for this, and I'm not going to take a salary. So, oh my gosh, he's our hero. Vote for him. No. Whatever the salary is by law, that check has to be cut, deposited into your account, and you take it, and that's just the way it is. And then whatever you do, then fine. So, but it's interesting though that some sheriffs have said, man, this is we just like to we're okay. On the other hand, though, I mean, there are sheriffs that are just grossly underpaid. I mean, there's sheriffs whose families are getting paid at a rate that puts them below the poverty level line. And some of these small counties, though, I can tell you that they're saying they don't know where they're going to find the money. I mean, the other office holders are paid less, too. It's just a tough deal when you're trying to do a one fix, a bandage deal for one deal that will apply to everywhere. So, but at any rate, the County Commission Association position is, though, don't fix this by attaching these salaries to federal judges and letting Congress then be the ones who decide raises. Right. It's a nightmare, and if they do this, I can tell you right now, there's already one other elected office association that has said, well, if this stands, then they're going to demand that their office be placed under the same deal and get get a percent and let Congress give them their raises every year too. They'll bankrupt the counties if they go
So
down this
where
path.
does it stop then, Darrell?
There you go.
If every county office holder should be linked to some kind of state holder, then it should be linked to some kind of federal, somehow.
And how does any
tie-in.
representative or state have the nerve to say that they're for local control when they're willing to turn something like this? Probably the most important elected official in your county as far as power and authority they have, and turn control of that salary over to the federal government? No, we don't need that. The governor took a stand, that we didn't need the federal government or the state even dictating to local county entities how they were going to address COVID, whether mask mandates or not. So no, they said we don't need state or federal government telling the local entities how to do things. But by golly, they signed on to this deal. And
Seems odd, doesn't it?
Either you do or you don't. So the Commission Association said, look, let the courts ferret it out and see. And if they throw that portion out, then we'll get back, and we're willing to work with them through the Salary Commission statute, local county Salary Commission statute, and fix those that way. Nobody begrudges at all what sheriffs make. Nobody begrudges sheriffs getting a raise, but we don't need the feds involved.
And that means the sheriff can still get a raise, but at the same time, the county knows what that raise is going to be ahead of time.
Oh yeah,
for it.
Yeah, that would be decided before they're in January.
Sure.
Yeah, Salary Commission can meet every year if they want to, in October, November, by December 15th. And then it's up to the commission. Then, okay, take a look at that, figure out the budget and see how it'll work and fit and go on. So anyway, so that's that there. If you see it, you'll be seeing and hearing, and they're going to, the liberal media people are going to be having a fit and whine and cry and gnash their teeth and bang their head against the wall and so on. So that's fine.
So we're going to hear you on Associated Press pretty soon.
I have
know
no
you're
idea.
a mean guy.
Oh, probably. I don't know. I don't care.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I understand that
Anyway.
our assessor, Jamie Holmeyer, came in and brought you some information about getting some new plat books.
Yes. We've done plat books, sell plat books all the time, and the last plat book was a beautiful plat book, very well done. But they're out of date. When we do plat books, we usually contract out with a firm to come in and do the whole thing. The fact of the matter is they're actually out of date the day they're printed and available. It's just the nature of the business, and because there's land transactions happening every day. So there's no way to have a plat book that is put out and current today that isn't obsolete from what yesterday or whatever. But we always contract out with a firm from somewhere, and last time it was a firm in Iowa that done the plat book, done a great job. And so we usually end up just doing this about every 4 or 5 years. Some assessors across the state have worked with the company and developing some software that allows them to do that in-house. Jamie Holmeyer's been talking to some of them assessors. She's gone to some of the counties and seen firsthand how they do that. And so she brought in a proposal to us to buy the software and contract with the company, and it's a very minimal cost to have the software put in so that she can and the plat books will be printed in locally.
Yeah.
Locally here with a local printer, and she can put a plat book out every couple of 3 or 4 months, and take orders from folks, if they want one, and have it much more up to date and at just a better deal. So really
just keeps it more current all the time.
Absolutely, yeah. So some people now, a lot of the stuff that's in a plat book you can pull up online on your smartphone, your tablet, whatever, and find that information. But there's still a lot of folks that like to have the paper plat book. That I keep one. I keep one in both of my trucks. Keep one at my house, and I keep one on my desk at the courthouse, because a lot of times it's just quicker and easier to flip that over, and it'll show you the properties and roads, bridges, or not bridges necessarily, but roads, highway, streams, and so forth and so on. And it's pretty neat to have. And I've paid for every one of mine, by the way. Yep, every one.
Well,
we don't get a free one.
And people always say, "Oh, you should have that on the internet." Well, if anybody wants to go through a plat book and see how many pages there are, and they tied it together, the pages do. You try to flip through that in your vehicle and try and find something, and maybe you're in an area there's no Wi-Fi.
That's right.
You're in a big problem.
That's right. You can be in a lot of places in Dent County where you're not going to pull anything up on the internet. But that plat book always works.
Yeah, it always has.
Yep.
Unless you lose that, somebody tears that page out. That'd be about the only way.
Yeah. So anyway, I was real pleased that Jamie Holmeyer assessor took that job on it.
Very good.
We'll be doing that. So that'd be great.
And the commission did approve moving forward.
Yes,
with that.
we did approve the contract. So sometime next year is when she'll start doing those.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very
so
good.
keep an ear out. She will be asking people that are wanting one, get an idea how many she needs to print in the first printing, and do that. So,
Very good.
yep.
So you attended MRPC last night?
Yes, sir. We had MRPC meetings last night. Public Housing Authority Board meeting first late yesterday afternoon, and then the Public Housing Authority actually administers the HUD housing programs for several counties in the MRPC region. Just to give you an idea, in Dent County, there actually are 104 HUD housing participants. It always kind of blows my mind that there's that many, 104. And just to give you an idea of what that brings in, and these are low-income folks who are able to apply and are able to rent properties and get assistance from HUD to help with that rent now. But the housing has to be inspected and periodically there are strict guidelines that participants have to abide by. They have to, share what their income is. If that changes, they have to let them know how many or who's going to be living in the house at the time, and so forth and so on. Any of those things change, if they haven't notified us, then or if there's anything happens as far as any drug charges or anything like that goes on, then they're off the program and usually kicked out of the house. But anyway, but for Dade County, but it does for low income housing, and lets folks rent some property that otherwise might be almost unavailable for them and be tough to do. And so many people have really expressed appreciation for that assistance and helped them kind of get on their feet and get going.
And there's a need for more houses as well.
Absolutely. There's a shortage. They're having real trouble. There's also within the program, what they call a family self-sufficiency part of the program in there, where a part of their monies will be put into a fund that they actually can end up using down the road as part of a down payment to buy their own home, and many families have availed themselves of that through the HUD program. So it's a good deal. I mean, a lot of times I'm not the biggest fan of HUD in many ways, but for this one, it's a pretty good program. We got, as I said, there's 104 housing participants here in the county. To show you, in October, HUD housing assistance amounted to a total of $31,500 just for Dent County that was paid. So that's a considerable sum of money. You extrapolate that out to $350,000, $400,000 in a year's time of HUD assistance. So anyway, I mentioned to you last night, then after that we had MRPC meetings, External Relations Committee meeting that I'm chairman of. And we're currently working on the MRPC state and federal legislative priorities. We'll be looking at those, adopting those for MRPC.
Did you have a review of the banquet?
I was going to say, we also then, we had evaluations of the annual dinner that we just had recently up at Lynn. And we always take a look at those because we already now start kind of looking at and planning what did people like, what did they not like, and what do we need to do different for next year and so on, because next year we're already starting over again.
Sure.
We'll have another one next October. Everybody does it. It used to be in November. Everybody seems to be very set that they really like the moving it up to earlier in October. At least your drive to the location is in the daylight.
Daylight, yeah.
Yeah. And some of these places are just downright beautiful. And we talked about that. It was a doggone shame that nobody was able to really appreciate just the drive in to some of these. So we're looked at that, and that was interesting. But anyway, and as I said, working on state and federal legislative priorities, and we also set the date for January the 25th for MRPC to go up to Jefferson City and visit with our legislators at the Capitol about our priorities. We'll probably have a luncheon in the Capitol hallway and invite them down. But here a few years ago, this legislation I think it was on an initiative petition thing. On having to do with campaign contribution stuff. And it limited it to $5 is the most you could spend for meals for somebody. Do you know what you can buy, what you get for a $5 meal for somebody? I mean,
for a while,
how many packs of cheese and crackers and a Gatorade, are you really going to?
Even that may not make $5.
Used to we'd have somebody come up, and usually Senator Brown outside his office would let us have a catering place just set up there, and they'd bring up some fried chicken and mashed potatoes and gravy, and we'd invite the legislators come down and eat lunch.
Yeah, have a family meal, yeah.
So now it's backed up to where it's got to be something like a baked potato bar, maybe, and maybe some chili on hand or something, and that's okay and stuff. But it's just really, I don't get what's wrong with inviting your legislator to come down, sit down, and have a little bit of fried chicken and mashed potatoes and gravy while you talk about what your issues are. Then what they got to eat lunch, and you got to eat lunch. I don't know. That's another one of them deals that somewhere along the lines, common sense needs to prevail and take care of that goofy thing. Well, this would happen. At our commission training when we used to have it in Jefferson City, we would have a legislators' breakfast, and we'd invite the legislators to come down. We'd have biscuits and gravy and scrambled eggs. Invite the legislators, they got to eat breakfast somewhere. Come down, have breakfast, and then our speakers would sit up here and talk about what our legislative priorities and concerns were. Them eating some scrambled eggs and biscuits and gravy didn't obligate them to do X, Y, Z. It was kind of goofy. But at any rate, all that's kind of supposedly
It's
changed.
amazing what goes through people's heads when they start thinking,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, well, they're getting all these freebies and they're going to go your way. Like, probably not.
Oh yeah. It's. But anyway, that's all right. Whatever. Yeah. But we'll go up on January 25th and visit with the legislators about what our legislative priorities are.
Very good.
Let's see. Oh, by the way, I do want to mention a couple of weeks ago when I was on the radio here just a couple of weeks ago, but when that meeting was over, went to a meeting MRPC sponsored. They've been doing some meetings about broadband internet expansion, right. And the Rural Electric Co-op Consortium, that's what it's called, was awarded a federal what they call RDOF auction to provide expanded broadband internet access in the southeast corner of the county, kind of down the Bunker area and then coming up this way. It was an interesting deal. We had a representative of that consortium on. They're just a kind of a loose net deal that represent, I think he said, about 90 rural co-ops across the United States. But what this deal is, these people themselves aren't a legal entity that's going to really do anything. They just bid this on behalf of all these co-ops, hoping that one of these co-ops which in this case would have to be Black River Electric right. Co-op down in that area, would take up the deal to expand broadband internet access in that region for the amount of money that they bid it. So far, they said they don't have any agreement with any co-op to do anything. And that they've got 8 years to get it completed. And I'll be honest, when that meeting was over, I had more questions and concerns than we did have answers, because I really got the feeling that maybe it's going to be, because that's a tough area down there that's very sparsely populated, and I don't know that the amount of money that was bid for them to get, if they done it, would be near enough to cover the cost of putting the internet access in, and to get the return then on the subscribers for us. So that's an ongoing deal, but we do know that in this big infrastructure package that Congress just passed, using this fake invisible money that they're going to send to all the states, there's billions in that for infrastructure, particularly for broadband expansion across the country. I'm pleased the federal government recognizes that and is working on that. How we're ever going to repay all this money that they're putting out there is a mystery still. But at any rate, the state is going to get several millions, if not billions of dollars for infrastructure. It's going to be, they know this, they're planning this for roads, bridges, and things, but also, again, putting even more millions into the broadband internet thing. So we're going to keep working on that to see what we can get out of that here for expanded broadband.
The sad part about right now in that area with the Black River Electric Co-op, they suffered some major damages with that tornado that went through. Mm-hmm. Poles, trucks, a number of different things. Yeah, they're insured, don't get me wrong, but that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort just to recover from that. And somebody said, well, that should happen in no time. Well, Darrell, I can honestly say, in going to the city meetings and stuff and finding out how tough it is to get a truck, I can't imagine trying to get 5 new trucks for an electric co-op within the next year. I can't even see how they're going to get it done.
Yep, everything is upside down. Yeah. So anyway, I did want to mention I did attend that, and we're working on that. We'll continue to work on the broadband internet deal. There will be a special session on that. I will mention the courthouse. There will be no commission meeting this Monday. The commissioners and some of the other office holders will be at Missouri Association of Counties annual conference, and there will be a lot of breakout sessions. Interesting, we'll be going to expanded broadband plans will be one of them. ARPA, the ARPA money, what we can do with those funds, and or what some counties are thinking, or actually the attorney will be visiting with us about the latest is that he's learned about what you can or can't do. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on there, but there'll be no commission meeting this Monday. And I would mention then, of course, then at the courthouse will be closed this coming Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving Day.
Absolutely.
So-
And we want to salute all those who have signed up for the Heroes Marathon. That's going
Absolutely.
to be tomorrow.
Honoring our Heroes Marathon is tomorrow. The weather sounds like it might be cloudy, but it's going to be a little warmer in the morning.
Actually,
than
it'll
it
be
was this morning.
sunny for the most part. Most
think
of
so?
the day,
Good
yeah.
deal.
But it will be a little breezy. It'll be cool starting the day out. But it'll
Yeah,
be
but still.
in the 50s.
Yeah.
Beats that one rainy, cold day
Oh
that they had
man,
when it
cold,
started. Oh,
cold and
man.
rain, and trying to run a 26 or 7 mile marathon. I can't imagine. Can't imagine running it. Regardless, somebody better bring me a scooter. But anyway, so I believe that.
That's all I
I
have.
believe that catches me up.
All right. Well, very good, sir. And we hope that everybody enjoyed getting updated on things going on in your county, and maybe even some hot news there that you didn't know about yet. That I'm sure will be hearing
That
more
was
about.
breaking
soon.
news that'll be
Yeah.
coming out. Yes.
Be hearing more about that very soon, I'm sure. And
Well, and the end of it is our end game is the sheriffs are going to get a raise. That's the goal. We're fine with that. Mm-hmm. That's not a
just
problem.
how they get that raise.
You know, and so for the media try to portray, well, we're against sheriffs getting a raise. Well, that's just garbage and BS, and I get sick of hearing some of the liberal media and their lies and garbage. So anyway, so don't even start there. So, but the point of this is let's get it turned around and let it get done right and get it away from the federal government's control.
There's nothing wrong with a raise, but if I would, if Darrell would say to my boss, hey, give him a raise because I'm giving somebody in the county a raise, you have to give him a raise. I got nothing to tell you, my boss.
Well, I hope when the media looks at this, I hope they'll talk to. There were some representatives and some senators who voted no, and I hope they'll talk to them and let them explain to them too why they voted no.
Depends on what slant they want to take.
Well, they won't want to go down that road. I know.
But, if they're for you, they'll make it sound really good, and if they don't care for you, then you know as well as I do that it's not going to come out in a very positive side. But
That's
I want
fine.
to thank Darrell for coming in and spending time with us. We've been doing this many times. Darrell does pay for this program, and it's not free. No, it's not free, and he knows that. But the thing is that he didn't bring us any venison, so
I can make that happen.
I bet you can. But we want to thank Darrell for coming and spending some time with us and wishing him and his family and those youngins back there right now a nice, happy Thanksgiving as well.
Yep. I do hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. It's a great time. Get your family together and enjoy your family, grandkids, and everything. And I think the weather's going to be good. It looks like from what I've seen through the week. So hope
be okay.
everyone safe travels and everything. So we'll be back here then. What will it be, Stan? Somewhere around December the 3rd. Yep. So we'll be back here and reporting more news. And until we're back here, I do hope everyone will be safe, happy, healthy. God bless each and every one. And